good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I can see like more than people just join the today's session. So welcome today for the building our webinar in a building successful process with the Prince 2 seventh edition webinar. We are delegated to have you with us. So I'm your host Rashmi, and we are starting the our webinar. So moving forward, uh, thanks first of all, thanks. I'm thrilled to have you all of you here joining from us the very corner of the globe. So before we dive in, let me introduce to you our esteemed expert for the today, which is the Mr. Anand Kulkarni sir. So the let me yeah. Yes. So the thing is, the sir has Anand Kulkarni. He is a project management expert. He has an enthusiastic in ITIL. He has done with the Prince 2 practitioner, Prince 2 7 practitioner, Prince 2 Agile practitioner, PMP, and the ITIL master as well. So Anand sir has around the 19 years of the experience. So he delivered the more than 200 of these sessions, and we are privileged to have their wealth of the knowledge and the experience to guide us through this session. So that's all. And now, if anyone have any queries, any questions, so just feel free to use the chat of the Q&A box, so we can just address to everyone queries. So and end-to-end presentations as well. So we understand that your time is valuable, and we truly appreciate you being here today. Now, without further ado, I would like to hand over it towards the Anand sir for the next session.
Thank you, Rashmi, for the kind
Yes.
words. Uh, I will just briefly uh, talk about the organization and then directly get to the topic. I know we are behind schedule. Uh, so Knowlathon is a more than 10 years old organization, and we have trained more than 22,000 professionals have been involved in consulting, helping organizations and individuals in their overall betterment in terms of human resources primarily. We are associated with PeopleCert, Project Management Institute, ISACA, and couple of other principles for various certifications. Some of those are Prince2, ITIL, and CRISC and CISA and all that. That is just brief. I will just get to the main topic today's agenda. Uh, Today we are trying to cover what is new in Prince2 7 specifically, the qualification scheme and prerequisites for Prince2 7, exam format for the new exam, overview of the topics will be covered in the uh, overall structure of it, difference between the Prince2 and Prince2 Agile, and how Prince2 can help in your career overall as a project management certification. Okay, so let's dive into it. If you have any questions, queries, feel free to use the Q&A section. You can also raise the hands and add it to the Q&A. Okay, okay. So let's get going. What is new in Prince2 7? So before I get to that, let me tell in brief what happened before Prince2 7 was launched. So Prince2 2017 edition, where the name was actually changed later on to Prince2 6th edition. The official name was Prince2 6th edition. Uh, when Prince2 6th edition was launched, there was a feedback from the industry that the current environment of project management has changed a lot, and it still hasn't been addressed in Prince2 6th edition. That is why the Axelos went ahead with modifications, talked to the industry, and based on the feedback of the industry, they have included or they have modified certain things, added certain things which are of importance in today's project management. It also tells us that the core structure of Prince2, which was there or which is there since 1996, that the backbone, or if we can call, if I may say, Atma of that framework hasn't changed. That core is still intact. There is no change to that. But there are many things that have changed around the way we interact, the way we manage, the way we report, the tools, and especially the 2020 was a watershed event, as we all know, where various methods of working became prevalent, right? We Earlier, work from home was a bit of an optional thing. You had to ask your manager or boss to get work from home, or there were pretty stringent policies around that. But with 2020, everyone saw that or rather, we were forced to get into that hybrid and work from home mode, and that changed the dynamics a lot. So when again Prince2 was launched, or it was already work in progress there, but these are some of the things that Axelos has tried to incorporate in the newer version of Prince2. Okay, so one of the things, one of the major changes that have happened in Prince2 7 is integration of people. The people section has been added as a new thing. For those who are familiar with Prince2, in Prince2 6th edition 2017 or even earlier in 2009, we had a theme called organization, right? But organization primarily focused on the project management team and members within it and its relationships to the rest of the organization, rest of the world. Now, when we talk about a people, or what they are trying to address here is a project essentially is a change, and it introduces change not only for the team but for lots of stakeholders beyond the project management team, and that is where the change management is very essential, very important, to an extent where if it is not addressed in a proper way, your project is not going to deliver what it is supposed to deliver. Oh, so it might not give any benefits. And that is where the people section has been entered. So the three subsections are there: leading successful change, leading successful teams, and communication. You can imagine a scenario where a corporation in India is launching online tax paying system. This small change, a couple of lakh people or a couple of million, if you like, uh, that is going to have tremendous impact on the overall environment. So it is not only about the team, the information technology team that is going to get into it. That is not only about the corporation that is commissioning it, but it is also about the city and its people and what benefits they are supposed to get from it. Do they actually get those benefits or not? And this is what we need to consider as a part of project management. If you don't do that, then it is not going to deliver the results that the organization intends. Now, we can talk about public sector, we can talk about private sector, we can talk about NGOs and so on. But this is a very important section which was missing, we can say. And that has been addressed now in Prince2 7. So we have this separate this is the biggest change in Prince2 7 when we talk about what new things have been done in Prince2 7. Another thing, we already had six aspect, project performance aspect. If you are already familiar with Prince2, there were scope, time, quality, cost, risk, and benefits. These six aspects were considered sufficient to a point, but we all know that with the changing environmental conditions and to be more precise, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, 17 Sustainable Development Goals, uh, there is a kind of obligation for every organization where they need to address that those sustainability goals, or they have to think about sustainability development goals. I mean, we only have one planet, right? Where are we going to go from here? So not only for this generation, but also for the progeny, the future generations. So sustainability has been added as an aspect, a seventh aspect, along with the existing six aspects. Now, sustainability is not limited to the environment alone. It is about equality, equity, uh, equal opportunities to everyone, and so on. So this is in line with the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. And sometimes it is possible that the entire project can be for sustainability. Sometimes it is possible that the sections of the project address sustainability, or you have to incorporate sustainability in the way you execute the project, right? And there might be things like carbon credits and all, which an organization will have to consider, right? So project performance is, I mean, the sustainability is another aspect that has been included in the newer version of Prince2. By the way, technically correct name of Prince2 7 is Prince2 7, not Prince2 7th edition. Hmm? Uh, Another thing that has been added. Now, this is not a section, by the way. This is a small concept that has been incorporated in all the themes, which are now called as practices. But we'll come to that later. So, digital and data management. We are all working online. We are all working in hybrid mode, and there are lots of, yes, there are lots of um compliances that an organization has to follow. And depending on the law of the land, those compliances might be pretty strict. Not only that, different organizations and governments, super governments are coming up with their own directives, laws regarding data privacy. Now, an organization has to take into consideration uh, this aspect of data when we talk about project. Now, this is not only about the team's data, but everything that we do, and there has to be a formalized approach towards it, towards the digital and data management approach. So this is the new thing that has been added. Another thing that has been added in Prince 7 is scenarios. Now, earlier in Prince2 6th edition, there was a scenario in the appendix, but that was a pretty limited view. What has been done now in Prince2 7 is that four different scenarios, four different types of organization, government, NGO, a proper for-profit company, and so on. Those, those scenarios have been incorporated in the book. How you can use Prince2 in different scenarios, that we can learn from those scenarios. And the best part is, uh, one of these four scenarios will come in the exam itself. Okay, so that is another thing which might be good for some. So those scenarios tell us that how we can use Prince2 or different aspects of Prince2 in a certain conditions. So if you are an NGO, what you can do. If you are a government organization, if you are a for-profit organization, so what can be done about it. Those scenarios have been incorporated in the book, and which is pretty elaborate. So initially we have the scenarios, and in every situation how we can do it, use Prince2 in that particular organization's context, or in that particular project's context rather, that we learn throughout the book. So this is something that is new in Prince2 7. Hmm. Then what has improved? Certain things have been improved, as in which were uh, different, and according to the need or the demand of the industry, certain things have been introduced. Earlier in Prince2 6th edition, and even before that in Prince2 2009, we had something called as minimum requirements. So if an organization wants to call a project a Prince2 project, there were certain minimum requirements. If those minimum requirements are not met, then this is not a Prince2 project, was the condition. That has been uh, loosened a bit, we can say. Okay, so we do have certain recommendations, but that rigidity is a bit less, I can say. Another thing is Prince2 for all. The language has been changed to suit everyone. Okay, so when we talk about the terminologies, the idea is that everyone across the globe should be able to understand what we are talking about. So the common project management terminology has been mapped with every other framework being used, and that can be, I mean, that will be a good thing, because if we are, I mean, we are already working with multiple teams located across the globe and spread across the globe, and those can help us in speaking in the same language and understand each other. Full tolerable enabling agility. In Prince2 7, um, the three ways of handling projects have been incorporated. Three ways, as in linear, sequential, uh, iterative, incremental, and hybrid, right? So this is another thing that has been incorporated. Improved is a better word here. Uh, agile section has been incorporated throughout the newer version. Okay, so there, when you are going to tailor that Prince2, you can consider your environment, and it will be easier compared to previous versions to tailor the Prince2 to suit your organization's needs specifically. Another change or improvement we can say is the principles. The seven principles are there, still there, and the only thing that has changed is the names of the two principles have been changed a little bit. Uh, Plus the description of those principles. There are minor changes there, but still, uh, for those who are already Prince2 certified in the older versions, you might remember seven principles, seven themes, and seven processes. Now, those seven themes are called as practices. Uh, the structure of each practice has been changed a bit, especially the part where there was a lot of overlapping. For example, risk theme earlier had a lot of overlapping with MOR framework. So they have tried to reduce the overlap in the newer version and tried to keep it to the project and less of the MOR. So you can, if you are learning MOR, you don't have to specifically uh, I mean, that will not be repeated here in the project management part. So those seven practices are there. Some names also have been changed. For example, instead of change, now we have a practice called as issues. Organization uh, has been changed to organizing, and so on. So that is it. And every practice has a major technique plus many supporting other techniques have been included there. Okay, so that structure has been simplified, and every practice includes guidance on how you can tailor the practice or how you can tailor Prince2 in a particular specific context. So that guidance helps us in actually implementing Prince2 rather than just having it as a theoretical exercise or just a mental exercise, academic exercise. Rather than that, this will help us in implementing the Prince2 and actually gaining from it. Then another thing that has changed is processes. Uh, Earlier, we had seven processes. Now also we have seven processes. What has changed about the processes part is that the structure of the processes activities, some of the activities have been changed. Uh, some activities have been merged, some activities have been added. Simplification has been done. So earlier we had input outputs for every individual activity and all that. Now we have it at a process level. Okay, so this is another thing that has been changed in the newer version in the processes part. Now, again, there is a lot to talk about it. Uh, One important thing that has happened with respect to the practices and processes is that since the processes are simplified, implementing in with various environments will be far more easy. Another important thing that has changed is the management products. Those of you who have been part of this earlier might remember that uh, 26 management products were there. Okay. Those 26 management products are still there. Management products, what is a management product, by the way, for the new people? Management product is basically what you use for managing a project. So your project plan, business case, and other such documents. I don't want to use that word, but fine. So those documents that are primarily used for managing the projects, reports and records and registers and all those are uh, still there. But the simplification has been done. So now we have a new concept called project log. So we had multiple registers earlier, issue register, quality register, uh, risk register, and so on. So now all of it, plus daily log, lessons log, and all of that, that has been incorporated into a single entity called project log. So depending on the size of the project, we can either have it in a simplified way or expanded way, where we can have everything in a separate way. Do remember that what is being addressed here is the need of different organizations and different sizes of the project. So any organization carrying out anything which fits the definition of a project can use the entire framework. Okay, and this will benefit that organization in improving the overall project management of the organization. So that simplification has happened. The number of management products have been simplified. You can simply have a single document there having all of this. Okay. What is MOR? Okay. MOR is PRINCE2 is actually part of a frame suite of frameworks, and those frameworks are PRINCE2 is for project management, MOR is for risk management, management of risk. Then we have MSP, managing successful programs, for program management, as the name clearly indicates. Then we have MOP, management of portfolio. We have MOV, management of value. Then for service management, we have ITIL, and so on. So this is basically an entire suite of frameworks, and MOR is one of those frameworks. Okay. So from the management products point of view, that is what uh, has changed. From the project log is there, the number of issue separate logs and registers have been reduced, and so on. Earlier in the older version, Prince2 sixth or even Prince2 fifth edition, what they call as fifth edition, which was earlier called as 2009 edition, there we had 5 different appendices. Now there are only 2 appendices. Okay, earlier there was health check, there was uh, a separate section for product-based planning technique and everything. Now all of this has been incorporated in the practices itself, and that is why the weightage of the practices has increased a little bit compared to processes uh, in the current version in the Prince2 7. So now we have only 2 appendices and glossary. That's it. So appendix is for management products, and the other is for the uh, roles and responsibilities, and then there is glossary. So the overall manual has actually been simplified. The structure of the practices is repeatable process that was already repeated, and hence it becomes easier to do that. One good thing has happened recently. Um, that is, now you can actually download an offline book. Okay. When you get the voucher for that Prince 2's exam and everything, there you have an option to get access to the ebook itself. In a and you can use an application to download and access all the book, and it is available to you all the time. Okay. So that is one good thing where you can mark and you can do everything with the newer version. Hmm. The prerequisites part, the exam prerequisites part. Uh, For the Prince2 7 foundation, there are no prerequisites. The expectation is that you at least understand the basics of project management. You at least know the terminology, where projects are carried out, and so on. But there is no particular exam or certificate used or required for uh, Prince2 foundation. Okay, so you can appear for the Prince2 Foundation, even if you are not really familiar or you are new rather than not familiar, I would say. Even if you are new, you can still go for the Prince2 Foundation. This is actually a good path for the people who are starting with their project management careers. If you have maybe 3, 4, 5 years of experience and you want to get into the role of project coordinator, project spock, or something like that, or even getting into the PMO, you can first give the foundation, or even at the very beginning of the career. You can first go for the foundation, and then later on, as you progress in your career, you can go for the practitioner. Hmm. Then for the Prince2 practitioner exam, now for the Prince2 practitioner, we have multiple prerequisites, rather multiple options are available there. Prince2 sixth edition foundation or practitioner, if it is still valid, then that will be considered as a prerequisite. Then Prince2 7 foundation, of course. Apart from it, the some of the other very reputed certifications, if you have one of those, they are also considered as good enough. So you can have project management qualification, project professional qualification, PPQ, PMP, CAPM, IPMA certifications level A, B, C, D. Those are sufficient prerequisites for going for the Prince2 practitioner exam. Meaning, if you already have those certificates, valid certificates, of course, then you can directly appear for the Prince2 practitioner exam. Hmm. This is an important thing to note. If you have given or if you have a valid certificate of Prince2 fifth edition, now do remember the scheme at that point was a bit different. uh, Prince2 fifth edition, the foundation certificate was considered as a lifetime valid certificate at that point in time, which was true. But now, Prince2 foundation, fifth edition, foundation or practitioner is not considered as a valid thing. Okay, you either have to have Prince2 sixth edition. Again, that will also be phased out because 3 years. And now either Prince2 7 foundation or um some of the other certifications that are there. Those are considered as valid prerequisites, but the older versions are not accepted anymore because there is significant difference in that version and this version. So it does not make sense to have a foundation of Prince2 fifth edition being considered as a valid pre certificate for the Prince2 seventh edition. What happens to my existing sixth edition certificate? Will be valid till expiry date, obviously, and you can renew those before expiry date. There are multiple options available to renew those certificates for you. One is obviously giving the Prince2 7 practitioner exam. But apart from that, also membership options are available, and you can talk to someone in Knowlathon, and they will help you with that. Okay, uh, for the renewal of it. Hmm. The membership thing is also there. You can benefit it, especially if you are thinking about implementing Prince2. Then there are lots of resources available in the Prince2 7, the newer version. Lots of templates are available, case studies, white papers, other guidance is available, and that can help you in customizing, tailoring the Prince2 to suit your specific environment in the newer scenario. Okay. Exam format. This is, I think, the simplest part. This is 1 hour exam, Prince2 Foundation, closed book exam, 60% pass marks, meaning 36 answers have to be correct uh, in order to pass the Prince2 Foundation, Prince2 7 Foundation exam. And this certificate is valid for 3 years. The Prince2 7 certification is valid for 3 years. There are 60 questions. This is a small change in the practitioner exam. Um, Instead of 68, now we have 70 questions. The passing percentage is still same, 60 marks, 60% or 42 marks. 150 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes, essentially. And this is an open book exam. So when you give that exam, you are officially allowed to use the book uh, during the exam. Hmm. This certificate is also valid for 3 years. And as I stated earlier, as I mentioned earlier, the four scenarios that are there in the book in the Prince 2 7. So one of those four scenarios will be uh, used or will be in the exam. Okay, in the practitioner exam, of course, foundation does not have any scenarios or anything. The Bloom's level for foundation exam is level 2, whereas for the practitioner exam, it is level 3 and in some cases 4. That's it, the difficulty level of the exam. Bloom's level is how you express the difficulty. There is no bridge exam. In case you have earlier certificates, you have to go for PRINCE2 practitioner directly if you have a valid older certificate. Hmm. This is a common question. What is the difference between PRINCE2 and PRINCE2 Agile? So I plan to address it briefly. Now, uh, when back in 2015, the 2009 edition was still there, and there the Axelos at that point received feedback from the industry that your Prince2 is not agile enough at that point. And that is where the Axelos decided to launch Prince2 Agile. Now, Prince2 Agile, is it a different framework altogether? The answer is no. Prince2 Agile is essentially, as the text says, optimum amount of Prince2 governance combined it with Agile. We have to remember here very important part that agile is an umbrella term used for various frameworks. Agile is an umbrella term used for various frameworks. There are at least 16 or 17 frameworks which can claim to be agile. Now, your organization might be using any of those frameworks and might want to use Prince2, some sort of governance they want to introduce. That is where they can benefit from Prince2 Agile, or other way around, that you are an organization which is already well versed in using Prince2. You already have the templates in place, you already have the roles and team structures and everything in place. So you want to introduce the agile mechanism, agile, I mean, Scrum, you want to introduce maybe generic agile, where you have iterations and sprints and stand-up meetings and all that. So there also you can benefit from Prince2 Agile. Do remember that there is a lot of flexibility in the Prince2 framework. So what Prince2 Agile does is it takes the essentials of the Prince2 and couples those essentials with the agile essentials. Now, what are the parts of agile that are covered here? First of all, agile is vast and there are lots of frameworks under it and all. Uh, Specifically, Prince2 Agile tries to cover the agile concepts, frameworks, behaviors, and focus areas and techniques commonly used in agile. Okay. Hmm. Then uh, vital behaviors such as collaboration and transparency. Do remember that agile primarily focuses at the delivery level, not at the management level. So you still have a valid guidance from Prince2 at the management level. So you can use that governance, you can use that, you can have a project manager overseeing everything that is happening. You can have multiple teams working under that project management. The teams are working individually, working on different parts of the project. And this is where you need a common thread to weave across those teams and ultimately get things delivered. So that is where the Prince2 Agile comes into picture. You benefit from the stability of the Prince2 as well as agility or uh, speed of Agile. So where you have environments which are pretty uncertain and you can't really you don't have sufficient information. You are working in VUCA environment. If you know what is VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, uh, and complexity and ambiguity. So if you are working in that environment and it is you don't have sufficient information, data, and lots of assumptions, then Prince2 Agile is good for that environment. Okay. So you can quickly take a decision to continue the project or discontinue the project if required, because it is that kind of environment that is there. Hmm? Hmm. Okay, I will answer all questions. Let me just complete this part. Hmm. What are the benefits of uh, doing Prince2? Hmm. Hmm. how Prince2 can help in your career. For the individuals, Prince2 can help you in uh, getting a better position in your own organization, joining some other organization, whatever your aspirations are there. Because Prince2 is obviously one of the most popular frameworks across the globe in project management. And there are lots of opportunities in India as well as outside India where you can go for those opportunities. Especially if you have a Prince2 certification, then you will be recognized, you will stand out, that you already know the common terminology, you already know the basics of project management with that certificate. So that can help you even if you are thinking of switching, or if you are thinking of promotions or things like that in your own organization. That is one. Second thing, uh, when we talk about uh, growth opportunities, um, do remember that when you implement Prince2, this is far more beneficial for any organization rather than having an ad hoc project management. Okay, so you will be able to establish a proper structure, most importantly, a repeatable structure for all the projects that are happening in your organization. Fine tune it to suit your organization, and then get better results every single time, where it can become a clockwork. Now, again, projects are not exactly operations, so there is still going to be significant uncertainty, but it will still be better than that. Okay, you will be able to get better deltas and so on. Hmm? You will be part of a global community project management fraternity, uh, which has done the Prince2. Okay, you will be able to speak in a common language, be it your customers, be it your suppliers working across the globe, and that is where this is also going to help you. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So I have some questions here in the chat box. You have 18.5 years of experience. Can I go practitioner level without foundation? Okay. So if you have any of those other certifications, PMP, CAPM, PMQ, or IPMA level A, B, C, D, then that will be considered as a valid requirement for Prince2 practitioner. But if those are not there, then foundation is a must. Okay. Uh, IT, not ITL Foundation, Prince2 Foundation, by the way. Uh, Rather than doing a project manager role with this certification, is there a scope to diversify and become a Prince2 and Prince2 Agile trainer? Of course, welcome to the fraternity. Yes, you can always connect with Knowlathon for that part. Okay, here are some more questions. How do I renew my Prince2 certificate after 3 years? Okay. Uh, a request to all of you, please put your questions in the Q&A section instead of chat section. Okay, so I will be able to answer all those one by one. Uh, how do I renew my Prince2 certificate after 3 years? There are two ways to do that. First, you give the same exam again. You can give the Prince2 practitioner exam again after 3 years. That is option one. Second, and better option is you can give a give an exam from PPM group. What is PPM group? PPM is Prince2, MSP, MOP. Uh, so there is an entire PPM family on of Axelos. So you can give any of those certificates. Now, in this case, what happens is, let's say, for example, you give MSP Foundation exam. If you give MSP Foundation exam before your Prince2 practitioner expires, before your Prince2 practitioner expires, then your Prince2 Foundation, Prince2 practitioner plus MSP Foundation, all three will be valid for 3 more years. So again, you can give some different certificate. Why this approach is better is you can acquire more certificates, more knowledge in this way. So second option is a better one. Just make sure that you give the next certificate exam, next exam before the first expires. So automatically all these previous certificates in the family, ITIL foundation, if you give that, that is not useful in PPM family. Okay, so you have to give something from the PPM family, project management, program management, risk management, and so on. So when you give that, then that will your certificates validity will automatically increase by 3 more years. And there are enough foundation and practitioner certificates and enough frameworks to keep you going for at least 20 years. Hmm. Uh, okay, does Prince2 Agile cover design thinking methodologies? Not in detail. Okay, there is a mention of design thinking, but design thinking in itself is a vast area. So Prince2 Agile primarily focuses on the uh, governance and management of from Prince2 and the speed from Agile. Okay, what are the prerequisites for Prince2 Agile certification? Okay, prerequisites for Prince2 Agile. Prince2 Agile, actually there are two exams there: Prince2 Agile Foundation and Prince2 Agile Practitioner. So you can give Prince2 Agile Foundation and then you can appear for Prince2 Agile Practitioner. There are no prerequisites for Prince2 Agile Foundation. Okay. Is there a separate exam for Prince2 7 Foundation and Prince2 7 Agile Foundation? Yes. Prince2 has Prince2 7 Foundation, Prince2 7 Practitioner. And Prince2 Agile also has Prince2 Agile Foundation and Prince2 Agile Practitioner. Do remember that Prince2 Agile includes a significant part of Agile. So it has a different exam. The structure of the training and everything is same, but the exam is different, the content is different. And for Prince2, the content is different. Okay, so the question is Prince2 Agile certified person will be eligible for Prince2 7 practitioner. Prince2 Agile, the older version, are not included henceforth. Okay, because Prince2 Agile was based on the earlier Prince2. So that Prince2 Agile foundation will not be considered as a valid thing for Prince2 7 practitioner. Okay. Um, any more questions? Yes. Is Prince2 considered organizational level accreditation instead of individuals? No, sir. For any framework, they are not considered at organizational level. Organizational level, you can get a standard, and standard for project management is ISO 21500. But again, the 21500 is not an auditable standard. So you cannot get that for organization. You can only get it for individuals. Is there a way to skip Prince2 foundation course and go for Prince2 practitioner itself in case where we do not have PMP, Scrum, CSP, or other such certs? I fear not, sir, because the Prince2 foundation is required. You should have at least Prince2 7 foundation or PMP or CAPM or one of those. Scrum, by the way, is not a valid uh, is not considered an equivalent of Prince2 7 foundation. So you will have to have a proper PMP, CAPM from that list. So if you look at this, so here, these are considered as valid prerequisites or valid certificates which you can use. And if you have those, you can directly go for practitioner, but not otherwise. Okay. I see we have covered most of the questions, and there is one. What is the level of actual usage of agile in the industry? Okay, uh, this is a very interesting question because the organizations use agile. When they say they are using agile, they actually use all sorts of frameworks. An organization using Kanban is also using agile. Organization using Scrum is using agile, and agile in a generic sense is also agile. And the second thing is to what extent they are using. If you consider even 10 to 20%, then the usage of agile in various forms is significant. Okay, but if you ask me, is there an organization which is using agile full-fledged for project management? The answer is it can't be done, because agile on a standalone basis is not good enough to handle an entire project. So you need something like Prince2 on the governance level to handle a full-fledged project. But at the execution level, at the delivery level, you can always use agile to some extent. Okay. Um, I think we have covered all questions. Rashmi, I think I will stop here.
Yes,
Okay. I will just skip to the
there is one more question, sir. I thought
acha. Let me
from
answer it.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
Let me answer it. Is ITSA more beneficial than Prince2? Uh, ITIL more beneficial than Prince2 in what sense? Mm, see, if you are in the service management domain, you are incident manager, problem manager, shift manager, something like that, then ITIL is more beneficial for you. But if you are handling regularly some sort of projects, like any projects, so maybe changing transformations, transitions, implementing tools, or maybe even smaller changes, then Prince2 is better. But this is not an either or situation, because they focus on different things. So ITSM is more for service management, whereas Prince2 is for the project management. Okay, so there is another question. Sixth edition certificate expired, still considered for seventh edition practitioner without foundation. No, it has to be valid sixth edition certificate. If it is already expired, then no. Basically, very few, I think, we'll have to check the date, but very few people will be having valid sixth edition certificate at this point, because this is already 3 years. Which is better, PMP or Prince2? Okay. Uh, this answer to this question is as good as which is good city in India to live, right? Uh, See, this is not again either or situation. My suggestion to the people is we should choose based on our preferences and the target audience. Okay. Uh, PMP is vast, has lots of techniques, but then the number of organizations that are going to use the in its entirety and the implementation is a bit different scenario. Prince to other hand, on the other hand, you have a full skeleton of project management and you can tailor it up or down. By the way, Pimbock has also introduced the term tailoring in their newer version. Okay. So you should choose the certification based on the organization and your own trajectory. Uh, at an academic level, we can always discuss whether uh, Prince2 is better or PMBOK is better. PMBOK is the book, by the way. PMP is a certificate based on that. So question is, can we say Prince2 is more applicable in case of STLC based projects and ITSM is well aligned to IM, PM, CM based projects? Okay, so when we talk about SDLC, the overall life cycle, again, uh, if it is being considered as a project, then yes, Prince2 will be more useful there when you are developing newer products or upgrading existing products. Um, but do remember that if it is something like regular change requests are coming in from the customers and those are being resolved, then that will probably not be considered as a project. Uh, Whereas if you have a defined TOR, terms of reference, or some scope and budget and time and everything is defined, and team is defined, then that is a project, and that is where the Prince2 can be used. Okay. Uh, Fine. So here is the survey link. Rashmi, back to you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Uh, yes. Thanks, Anand, sir, for sharing your all the valuable things with all of us. So, thank you for joining us today, everyone, and we hope you find this webinar both like the educational as well as the enjoyable. So, if you have any questions, any queries, so let's connect on a given means contact as well. For sure, means we will our team will coordinate with you, and everyone will receive the participation certification as well. And let's if you have any questions, any queries, so just let's connect with us. uh, I will be just putting the number as well in chat box. So I have shared the numbers as well with you, and on screen also it's displayed. So please connect on this same number if you have any query, any questions. Thanks to all. Thanks for the joining. Thank you, Anand sir. Thanks to all.
Thank you, Rashmi. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.